overall, bringing you back to 2010, where we had these bodies and 3 already charged. You mentioned more charges. There's 2 reasons we could see more charges. One is that Rex is the prime suspect in the killing of this other lady, Maureen Brainard Barnes. Also, they just finished doing a search of his house, Bridget. They dug up the backyard. They said they didn't find anything in the backyard, but 279 guns found, an underground vault. Perhaps we could be seeing a superseding indictment, which means more charges, Bridget.
Also, Andrew, because the grand jury is still seated?
Absolutely. The grand jury is seated, and this evidence would be presented to the grand jury because obviously we would need the grand jury to issue these indictments. The prosecutor, Ray Tierney, the Suffolk DA, is actually taking the lead on this, and he's been presenting to that grand jury, and perhaps he could be asking them to return, as I said, a superseding indictment, Bridget.
And Andrew, about Tierney handling the case himself, how unusual is that for a county district attorney to do that?
Well, it's quite unusual, and he hasn't handled any other cases besides this one, and he actually even helped in the grand jury. We'll see how much he's involved and how much he's just the name at the seat at the table. You see, they can have a panel of attorneys, and he could just be one of them, but we're already seeing him taking credit for it in campaign emails, and I see this as a very big case in his district, so I don't see why he wouldn't be involved. But again, the amount of involvement substantively could be different than the name on the case, Bridget.
So Heuermann's already pleaded not guilty. What happens? What should we expect from his side today? Are they going to ask for bail?
He didn't just plead not guilty. He cried, "I didn't do this." He's saying, "I didn't do this." And he was denied bail at the first arraignment. I would guess that his attorneys again ask him to be released, but I don't see that happening. He does have 2 children and an estranged wife, and generally, when you're asking for bail, the family needs to want to say, well, we want them when they need to come back. This family seems traumatized beyond belief about him. I wouldn't see bail in what we're seeing 3 counts already of first-degree murder, which is New York's serial murder statute, meaning all the charges can be charged together, Bridget.
How do you defend a Rex Heuermann?
Well, right now they're dealing with the fact that there's mostly circumstantial evidence. There's a lack of forensic evidence in this case. We do have the DNA from that pizza box and these burner phones, but it's not a direct tie. So the "I didn't do it" so far is the defense he's going with. You have to remember that his defense team doesn't need to prove innocence. What they need to do is undo the people's burden. Undo the burden of the DA, Ray Tierney, of proving beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not innocence, it's that the people can't prove their case.
And when this case does go to trial, where in the world, Andrew, could it be held? There's been so much publicity about this, but not just in Nassau County or Suffolk County, nationwide.
Well, I think it's going to be in the county. I don't think they're moving it from Suffolk County because this is where it's happening. This is what's going on. I think it's a state case. I think that's what's happening about this case. It's not being moved. But I need to point out to you, it may not be tried. We easily could have a plea. Pleas happen throughout the whole case. And when you're facing 3 charges of first-degree murder and 3 charges of second-degree murder and future charges being added, oftentimes these cases plea out for a lenient sentence. And when I say lenient, I don't mean he's being released, but maybe they could flip some terms here or there to help him out. I don't know. I see most cases plea, though. That would be my guess.
Interesting. Andrew Lieb, always great to have you on the show, attorney at Lieb at Law in Smithtown, Long Island.